Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Let's Talk Palace podcast. As always, I'm with Henry. How are you doing, mate? It's been a while. It's been an international break and all that as well. So how are you doing?
It has been. I'm doing well. Enjoyed the game despite the result of the weekend. It's probably one of my favourite Palace games to watch. But yeah, I'm all good, man. I'm all good.
Good to hear. Yeah, today we will be covering the Palace v Bournemouth game and we'll kind of be talking about the things we learned from that match. Maybe a small negative, but mainly positives, really. As always, if you are new around here, do not forget to subscribe, give this a like, and yeah, comment, let us know what you want to see more of, and just give us some feedback if you want. It's been going really well. Really enjoying everyone commenting. And I think, hopefully, by the time people are watching this, we'll hit 1K subscribers as well. So, things you absolutely love to see. So it's Monday night at the moment, and I'm still not fully recovered from that Bournemouth game. That second half was absolutely knackering in terms of what happened. But we'll go the first half first, of course, mate. 2-0 down. What was your halftime thoughts, and what's kind of your overall thoughts of what was going on?
Yeah, I'll preface it by saying, as always, unfortunately, when you want to work in football, you often can't go to the football games that you want to go to. So I was again producing for the BBC this weekend, and I always have the Palace games on, and it was a quiet first kind of 25 minutes in the games we were covering, so I was able to watch a fair bit of it. Not great, really. I think just too easy defensively. In my preview, I highlighted kind of Richards versus Semenyo as a potential key area for Bournemouth to exploit, and I think they did. I think a lot of what they did well, not just in that first half, but in the whole game, really. Even including the what looked like the winning goal in the 89th minute, all came down that side. I just think defensively we're a bit poor. Uncharacteristic mistakes from the likes of Mark Gay as well. You don't see him make that error very often. Just fails to clear his lines. But even then, we created a couple of decent chances and just were unable to take them, which, as I said at half time, has just really been the story of our season, despite us doing well, just not taking chances.
Yeah, I agree. And first goal, set piece. And for me, that is in my head Millwall, West Ham, and Bournemouth now, where we've conceded really poor set piece goals. So that's something that for me feels like a little bit of a weakness at the moment, despite how good we were at defending them last season. I feel definitely the West Ham one and the one of the weekend just felt like they could have been so easily prevented. It was a lapse of concentration. I think Munoz missed the guy in the back post for the Bournemouth one, and the Bowen one, he was just unmarked. And yeah, it's just disappointing 6 minutes in to concede such a sloppy goal. And yeah, as I'm saying, it feels like a little bit of a repeated pattern now. So it's something we definitely need to look into sorting out, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, it's weird though, like you said though, because we've always been pretty solid defensively from set pieces, and we're good at defending crosses in the air quite a lot, and obviously we're good at attacking set plays as well. So it's just weird that it doesn't seem to be that we're defending them badly, but it just seems to be that every now and then we switch off, as you pointed out, Bowen. But for me, this one was worse. I mean, he's completely unmarked. 2-3 yards out? He's literally any of us could have scored from there. So yeah, just disappointing. But I don't know if that's just concentration. Obviously, it's something that needs to be sorted out. But I wouldn't. I'm not worrying too much about our general defending from set plays, because I think for the most part we are pretty consistent.
Yeah, for sure. And then the second goal, down Richards and Munoz's side. You brought up Richards there, and I think we're seeing a little bit of a fatigue from Richards at the moment. It feels like he's not like struggling, like he's doing really well still, but it's just them little moments. It feels like maybe it's not been like pinpointed, but they realize Daniel Munoz is going to be fully attacking down that right wing, and if you can get us quickly on the counter, you are going to put us out of position, have Richards there, and he has been a little bit easier to get past, hasn't he, lately?
Yeah, I mean, and also San not tracking back, because I mean you see the complete opposite on the left, where Mark Gay is obviously in the left centre back role with Mitchell, who's obviously more defensive, but not as attacking as Munoz. So he's often in position, and if not, Jeremy Pino's has been superb, really, at doing the defensive side of things since he came in. So I do think that is an area that is maybe being looked at by oppositions, because, as you say, if you can break quickly down that side, it is just Richards. You don't really have the protection that you'd expect with a back five. when you've normally got kind of two defensive players in those wide areas. It might be something that Glasner needs to look at and needs to kind of maybe it's the thing he has looked at, and he's kind of just weighed up the positives of having Munoz going forward and playing more as a second right winger, and the negatives of him not defending as much, and he thinks that it's worth the risk. I just don't know.
Yeah, and I think you talking about Sarr there is a really big thing as well. Like even the third goal we conceded, it just feels like Sarr. It doesn't even need him to sprint back sometimes. It just needs him to jog back, and he's not doing it. And that is frustrating because, as we say, you've got Munoz who's really attacking. So if both of them aren't back, then yeah, Richards is so isolated, and just get that little bit of kick in you for Sarr really to get going and get defending, because it's so crucial in the formation we have, isn't it?
Yeah, I do think he does, because when I'm sat here thinking about it, and Sarr does work defensively, but it's often only in the opponent's half.
Yeah.
He'll track back to the halfway line, and he often wins the ball back. But if he's not, he's not like Pino. He's not going to come kind of closer towards our own box. Probably, to be honest, he's probably defensively, work rate wise, he's probably what people thought Elise was when he wasn't. And yeah, ultimately it does kind of leave you a bit exposed. But then there is, of course, the counter to that, which is having him playing on the last man all the time and having his pace in behind creates so many opportunities and goals for us that, again, it's one of those where you weigh up the kind of risk and reward of it. And to be honest, if Munoz is able to get back, I'd rather just leave Sarr on the last man because he's so deadly up there.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the second goal they scored and the third goal were from that side. So as you were saying before, something we definitely need to flag up. It feels really weird talking about something a little bit negative because we haven't had to do that for about 19 games on this podcast. So, we're not trying to be too negative here. We're just picking up the little weaknesses that, hopefully they're not going to be repetitive patterns that we see across the season. But let's move to the positives. 2-0 down. Most people probably thought that was done. Bournemouth are a very good side this season. You can see they're a good side. However, from the 60th minute onwards, maybe a little bit earlier, that was completely Crystal Palace's game. Like, it was insane, the difference in performance from the players. Credit to Glasner, he went more direct. The Nketiah sub early was really, really helpful as well. But yeah, 2-0 down, 2-2. The mentality of this team at the moment is just ridiculous, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, it is. I think I do want to just pause quickly and talk about the red card decision because I think it was an important part of the game. For me, it's the wrong decision, but at the same time, I think that if Bournemouth go down to 10 men, they completely change their system and we maybe don't get back into that game and it kind of peters out as a 2-0 Bournemouth win. I cannot believe that people are saying that the ball is going wide. The ball's going straight ahead towards the corner of the box. And as you see, when Sarr's first taken down, he's easily reaching the ball before it even makes the box. And it's a 2-on-1. It's Mateta and Sarr against one defender. And if that defender commits to Sarr, he just squares it to me. It's a goal scoring opportunity. So for me, I was a bit surprised by that. But at the same time, it's the same ref that didn't. Jared Gillett was, of course, VAR, wasn't he, for the FA Cup final?
Yeah.
So I guess we kind of take the positives and the negatives at the same time. But you're completely right in terms of the spirit and the atmosphere and just the feel around the team. As you said, at 2-0 down, normally you'd think, Jesus, we're probably out of this. But I kind of was always sat watching thinking, no, we can get back into this. We just need a chance, need a goal, and then it can go from there. And to be honest, once we scored the first goal, I was like, yeah, right, that we're winning this game. And I really had that feeling. And it's weird. It's like it's not like an arrogance, but it's a confidence that, and just more than anything, just a true belief in the Glasner and the players that no matter what circumstances they find themselves in, no matter the adversity, etc., we can always come in and we can always kind of draw out a result.
Yeah, completely. And not only were we 2 goals down, we then conceded a third in the 88th minute, make it 3-2. And then we still come back in that game. We still go fully for it. And then not even that, but then Mateta, when he scores the penalty, is getting the ball and taking it to the kickoff spot. Like that mentality shift we've had since Glasner's been in has been ridiculous. And
That does not happen before Glasner's in, does it?
No,
Absolutely
completely
not.
right. Completely right. And it's contagious now as well. The mentality of the fan base is completely different as well. Like you would probably say it's a 50-50 swing before Glasner, if like, about staying up, about pushing on, and both sides of the argument had a fair debate at the time. Now you would say it's like 95% of fans understand this pushing on, they understand the ambition, and they fully believe our squad can do it. And it's so refreshing, isn't it?
Yeah, and even when you get, what you could class as a disappointing result, as in it's a draw at home, the way that we've got that point, and to be honest, we easily could have won that game as well, probably on the balance. I feel on the balance of the game, it was a fair result, just because of how dominant Bournemouth were in the first half. And I do want to touch on them because they are what a superb job Iraola's done. To lose 3 of your starting back line, Kirkes to Liverpool, Zabani to PSG, Huijsen to Real Madrid. Those are 3 massive players for him, and you wouldn't even notice that they were gone. Like, he's done such a good job. They defend really well as a unit. And then when you've got players like Semenyo that can just grab a game by the scruff of its neck and just decide that he wants to influence it. He single-handedly won the game before the international break against Fulham for them, obviously with the help of a Kluivert wonder goal. But I just think on paper, draw at home, it's not ideal. But when you take into consideration just how brilliant Bournemouth are, which is weird to say because they are still a tin pot club, but they are doing so well on the pitch. You have to give them credit, and therefore it has to be a good result.
Yeah, massively agree. They were a good team. When you're 2-0 down, you do take the point no matter what the outcome of the second half was. And yeah, it was just so nice to see. But let's brush on Mateta, because the argument was that the worst hat-trick performance ever in Premier League history?
Well, I did a bit of digging, and to be honest, I couldn't be asked to look further back into last season because it just takes quite a while going through all the games. But that Mateta accumulated more expected goals himself than Palace have in any of our league games this season. And I'd hedge a bet to say that's probably the same for all of last season as well. I can't think of a game where we would have created 3.74 XG as a team. That's quite a lot. It's the highest ever expected goals recorded for an individual in the Premier League. 3 big chances missed, including, of course, that sitter at the end, which I think is maybe a little bit harder of a chance than some people were making out. Ball bouncing slightly behind him. But as Glenn Murray pointed out on the final score, when you've just scored a hat-trick, you're kind of as confident as you're ever going to be. So surely, if there's any time to be finishing those chances, it's then.
Yeah, completely fair. It was such a weird performance. I think the first 60 minutes, he was really, really poor, really. The Nketiah-Mateta partnership kind of really helped him out, I think. I think this Nketiah we're seeing now able to play in a Glasner setup as the 10. I think you saw it against West Ham as well. It feels like if he isn't going to play up top, he actually can do a little bit of a job now as a left 10. And, well, he did more than a job in this game and was so unlucky with his offside goal as well. That was a decent little poacher's finish. I think it was him anyways. But, it's working, and despite Mateta being poor for 60 minutes, what do you want your striker to do? Score goals. And the goals he did take were proper striker goals. Getting his leg to the second one, I think it was really, really good. Scoring a penalty in the 97th minute, the mentality of that as well to do that, amazing as well. So overall, we can't really complain despite him being able to.
You can never complain. It's just, also, and I know I don't want to talk about it too much, but the thing with the whole Mateta Zaha thing that's been going on, you wouldn't be surprised if that kind of stuff kind of had impacted him in any way, but it just hasn't. And you look at the contrast. I don't know if any Palace fans saw, but if you're interested, Zaha got himself sent off for punching an opponent in the face when they were 2-0 up in the last minute of the game. So he now misses their first kind of knockout game the way the MLS works. It's very bizarre. But a contrasting weekend for the pair. But no, you're right. At the end of the day, you want your striker to score goals. He's done that. I don't think Mateta's been playing badly this season. I think he's just not been as... I recorded my podcast on Sunday night, and we were saying that, it's more that he's not as robotic as he was like kind of last year. And you see that with strikers, especially the likes of Erling Haaland, Harry Kane, where they just look like so robotic, and it's just part of their motions that they just go through the motions, they get the ball, they score goals. But Mateta was exactly like that. I think, just back to the Palace Brighton game at Selhurst last year, early on, gets the ball outside the box before anyone even expects it, releases a shot with his left foot into the roof of the net. I just feel like that kind of automatic finishing has been a little bit off this year, hence him missing quite a lot of one-on-ones. And, he's probably also understanding that we're wanting to kick on. And if you want to kick on, your striker has to score a lot of goals. And there's a lot of pressure on him. But I think, scoring a hat-trick will do him the world of good. And I also love the fact that after the game, he was kind of disappointed with himself, almost like he'd let the team down for not winning it. It just shows the mentality again. And quickly on Nketiah, I think, you don't spend 30 odd million on a player that's not good. I've kind of said this the whole time about him. He's obviously a good player, and it's just taken him a bit of time to settle in. He's playing obviously a lot more football than he ever was at Arsenal for us. And he just looks brilliant. I really like the look of him. I think the Mateta combination, as Bobby called it, just superb. They play really well, almost as a two up front together. We saw that almost assisted the winning goal at the end. So yeah, just a weird performance from Mateta, but at the end of the day, if your striker's scoring a hat trick, it doesn't really matter what they do for the rest of the game for me.
Yeah, no, massively agree. And on Mateta, it is 10 big chances missed this season. Most of them, I would say, is when he's got more time to actually think about it. And this is the big thing Palace fans say. Mateta is class when he has less time to think about where he has to score or how he's going to finish. So for me, Mateta is brilliant at that little stuff. The one-on-one does need some work because that is massively important. That did cost us a little bit at Everton, but it is what it is. You do move on. He's somehow second top goal scorer despite missing so many big chances, or third top goal scorer in the Premier League this season. So you do appreciate what he's been doing, and it's Mateta, isn't it? We're going to love him till the end of the time, especially with the way he acts week on week. It's been really, really good to see. It'll be really interesting now to see how we kind of set up Thursday. How would you like to see it? Would you like to see Mateta rested, Nketiah fully start, or put them together? Or
I mean, Larnaca, I'm yet to record my preview, but they're not exactly a superb team. They're not going to kind of be very impressive. I think it's a really good chance to offer some rotation. I think it'd be really nice to see Romain Esse get a start. Obviously, he was sent down to the 21s and did really well there. Obviously, levels above that, and is back with the first team. So potentially, you could see him get some minutes. Uche as well. I know the reason that he wasn't in the squad was because obviously he was late back from international duty, so there was no kind of injury or any personal issue there. Nketiah starting would be brilliant. I think he could very comfortably finish the year as a Conference League top goal scorer. And outside of that, maybe JD Canvo, give Chris Richards a little break, and probably I think you got to rest Munoz as whenever you get a chance to. So Rio Cardines would probably slot in. He did really well again in the international break for Trinidad and Tobago. So I think just having these players that can come in and rest, especially when you're playing against lower opposition, it'll be great to kind of play your full strength team and win 8-9-0. But at the end of the day, as long as you if you win all your games in the group stage, you're going to finish in the top 8, you'd imagine. So that's the most important. So yeah, a little bit of rotation, but I don't think anything major because I think it's 4 games in 9 days starting from Larnaca. And whilst you don't want people to get injured, you also don't want people to get out of the rhythm of playing.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this might be a little bit of a learning curve, not in terms of Glasner needs to learn, but he needs to trust some of these squad depth players we have now, because we do have a squad that is capable of a little bit of rotation. I think Canvo in for Richards would be really nice to see. Will Hughes, you forget you got some of these players now barely getting some minutes in the Premier League, which is crazy because they were so key for us last season. So yeah, we got a lot of rotation we could do if we wanted. I don't think he'll do too much. It'll be really, really interesting to see how he lines up because it's a home game as well. So you would like to think if you're going to rotate in Europe, it is going to be the home matches. Just finally, really, the big thing we learned, I feel, from Bournemouth is just the sheer fact that we are probably, in terms of attacking wise now, one of the best teams in the league because we are creating the most chances. We've got 15.8 non-penalty XG this season. We scored 12 goals from 17.5 XG. We have created, I think, over 30 chances or big chances already this season. Missed a fair few as well, but how positive is it that we are just such an attacking force at the moment who are creating chances from so many kind of moments in matches?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. And as you listed there, we're kind of the top of every important attacking metric that there is. And it just goes to show how good a job we're doing. But also, it kind of goes to show that we could be doing a lot better than we are. We're eighth, I think, and that's great. And we've had a good start, but we should and probably could be a fair bit higher than that. It's still very close. We're only kind of five or so points off the top.
Yeah.
But there's definitely positives to take. And I remember saying, when we were kind of creating a lot of chances in games, and Mateta especially wasn't taking them, but also the likes of Pino. I remember a couple of games in a row where he missed a lot of good chances. You get to a point where those chances are scored, and when they are, that's kind of when you can kind of look at what you've really got, because of course you can't expect your players to take every chance that they get or every big chance. It's never going to happen. But excuse me, if you can kind of improve that consistency and how clinical you can be, you're only going to get more points on the board. I do really think it is really important that we get the automatic qualification though to the knockouts in the Conference League, purely because it just takes out two games that just add extra games and travel to the calendar. And I just think for me it's a no-brainer. If you can qualify automatically, which we're easily good enough to do, then you should be going for that 100%.
Yeah, I fully agree. And we are top for expected goals. We're top for shots on target per match. We're on top for big chances, and we're also first for big chances missed. So yeah, as you said there, look, we're getting all the chances. We just need to take a few more, and who knows where we could be. It is so exciting as well that we lost to Everton, but we've not lost to Bournemouth. The being able to only lose that one game and not go possibly 3 games losing in a row, sorry, because we got Arsenal next, that was a big possibility. So to just kind of stop that, especially before a European game, was really good as well. I mean, at the moment, it's still really positive. It's still really good, of course. It's still really exciting. Who knows where we can go this season? The Premier League table is ridiculous at the moment, I feel, from like 2nd to 10th or 12th even. Feels like anyone could go anywhere, right?
Yeah, 100%. And also, as you said, like the thing about that Everton loss, I wasn't even like that disappointed afterwards, because we had
Yeah.
played really well and we were the better team. So you can kind of accept that you're not going to win every game, but you're completely right. The table's close. I mean, people won't like it, but you look at a team like Brighton, who have allegedly had a really bad start to the season, haven't been great, and they're just behind us now. And we've had a great start, right? So it shows how tight this Premier League is. I'm just loving the fact that the newly promoted teams are picking up lots of points,
Yeah.
and hopefully that means that the Tricky Trees and Mr. Marinakis will be playing Championship football next year.
We can dream. We can dream. All right, that has been another episode of Let's Talk Palace. As I said, do not forget to subscribe if you're new around here, and do not forget to like the video as well. That's been all from me and Henry today. We will see you later.